So keeping on with the theme of like events, how do you determine whether an event is worth going to or not? Because like you have some events that are packed to the T, but they may be charging a vendor fee that may or may not be worth it. You have some events that they're free, but they don't have the foot traffic. It's almost like why did we bother coming out here? So how do you determine if an event is worth going to when setting up shop?
Geographical location will be first. So location, location, location. So I didn't. We also apply that online as well. So before we go to a place, we're making sure that we're scouting out the location. Is it safe? Is there going to be adequate parking? That's very important because if you
Mm,
rent a space with a lot of parking, they must be anticipating a lot of people to show up in that parking lot.
that's a
Um,
good tip.
versus if you get a show, you see a show and it's off of a main street, but there are no parking there's no parking availability. It's like, what are the chances? Because I personally, this I'm just speaking for me.
Okay.
Don't invite me somewhere and ain't no parking. Because if I'm looking for a park too long, I might just be like, you know what? Let me go see what them. Let me go see what a burger do, or let me go.
I was just thinking that like
I've been wanting to see this movie, since the movie theater was right there. Let me just go ahead, pop in since I ain't got.
like instead of going to that event, like you know what? I passed the restaurant and looked intriguing on the way here. It was like 5 minutes back. Let me just go back that way and get something to eat.
To get something to eat. Exactly. And that's it's a sad truth. But it does two things. It serves two purposes. Number one, it teaches you that if you're going to have a show and you want enough people to come, you have to accommodate those people. And then number two, you obviously need to know your market. You know what I mean? Who's
Yeah,
willing. If you've promoted to the people that live in that surrounding area that can just come out of their building and walk to your establishment, then yeah, now you got something. And like I
right.
said, this is what we're paying attention to. So that's one thing. And then also uh, the followers on traffic online. If we're looking and we see there's a lot of people say they're going to show up or they're not going to show up, we're looking at that too.
Hmm.
But that there's a clause to that one. I'm gonna say there's a I don't for lack of a better word, I'm gonna say there's a clause to that one.
Disclaimer:
That a disclaimer. Thank you, because that one is tricky. That particular one, and the reason why is because
people are fickle.
here in Miss here in Mississippi, um, there's no there. You're wasting your time setting an event and expecting people to pay on Eventbrite, because how it functions here in the South is they
Yes.
come if they got time to come. You see what I'm saying? So they're not going to adhere for the most part to Eventbrite because they paid their money, and anything can happen in between that time and the time you actually get ready to leave. So
Mm,
here in Mississippi, I'm just gonna say we don't do the Eventbrite, none of that. We will pay at the door, and we'd rather pay more money at the door because we know for sure we're going that day than,
mm,
than to pay online your prepaid and then you can't get your money back. You see what I mean?
right.
So so a lot of places, especially in the South, are like that. Where they're not going to go to Eventbrite and they're not going to prepay for a ticket for an event. So that's why I say that's a catchphrase, a catch 22 to that one, because somehow you can do Eventbrite with some events in some regions, and but you can't do it in I mean, it makes no sense. It's a waste of money and time and energy to do it in other regions. So yeah, that's another one. Also, space.
Hmm.
Looking at space when you go to an expo or you're doing where it's a potential event. How big is it? And what'd you say? It's 400 vendors that's gonna fit in that
This,
space?
this,
Like that's
this
a
tiny little space, like,
right. This is small. How this gonna work? So
hmm,
we're looking at that too. Also, we're looking at if you get too much space, but you hadn't promoted it. We hadn't seen you promote it in the last 2-3 weeks since you first put the flyer out. Like we ain't heard nothing.
yeah, it's a red flag, huh?
That's a red flag. That's a red flag. It really is. And also, finally, the financial the amount. So like for instance, Essence costs a lot of money to be a part of Essence, but the return is great. Like just think about it. Like you have like thousands, tens, 20s, 30,000 people there for the whole weekend, and $1,200 is not a lot of money, or $2,400, or just let's just say $5,000. If they want you to pay $5,000 for a booth for 3 days with about 50,000 people coming.
That's in your targeted demographic too.
Yeah, and your item sells for like $20. Do that math.
Right.
It ultimately is the finance as well. Just figure it out. And who all's coming? That's another thing. That's important. Who has already decided to go? So like most of the expos, I look at if different hair care companies are going to attend as well. Because if they are, I am. Because they're just as thorough in their homework and research as I am in mine. So I'm making sure that wherever they go,
to work for you.
Yeah, wherever they go, I'm going.
Okay.
Absolutely. But if you come across vendors, and it's okay to have some no names. I mean, I was a no name. Even the big companies were no names at one point. So like completely understand that. But when you've worked your way from freshman to senior, and now you're a college graduate in this thing we call business, you kind of pick up on these things of like who's gonna be there. So who's who is very important. So
what? Piggybacking off of that, it's good to like when you're at these vendor events, they're networking opportunities. You could meet someone that comes to your booth and like, hey, they could change your life some form of fashion. But there's also the other vendors. Yeah. So a lot of times you may have people that are related to your industry, but they're not direct competitors. They're actually complementary to whatever you're offering. So for instance, you offer skin products and this other vendor offers hair products. Well, y'all are actually complementary to each other. So maybe y'all exchange numbers, because whatever event you're going to be interested in and going to, chances are I benefit too, and vice versa.
Oh yeah, that's a good one as well. Like that accounts for a lot of my referrals too, because I have it's a lot of vendors that we vend with that know about other vending opportunities, and vice versa with me too. I still contact other vendors that I've done, been vending with, and be like, hey, there's this event, coming up, you want to go? And I'll just send them the flyer. And now it's like to the point where it's without thought. Like whenever I see one come across, and now I've come across so many vendors that even if I'm not going and I see something that'll benefit, like if I know a hat vendor, he sells specialty hats. And it was like about a few months ago, I saw a vending expo for like a car show, it was an auto show. Well, like some of his hats got like little car ideas or car, emblems
on the hat.
And so that I immediately sent it to him because I knew that's something that he'd be in, so.
Right.
So yeah, absolutely. You pick up on networking at these events too, that also help you map out when you want to go and where you want to go.
What's up, everyone? The video you just watched is actually a clip or portion of another episode from the Side Hustler Society podcast. You can check out the full episode by clicking on the link in the description or by clicking on the video that's popping up on the screen right now. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new and hit that bell notification if you want to be notified next time an episode drops. And give this video a thumbs up. It's very much appreciated. Thanks again, and I'll catch you in the next video.